All right, so it's already afternoon. So good afternoon, everyone, and to our viewers, good afternoon. So we will start the presentation, which is all about the action research. All right, so right, so let me remind you that if you have some questions and clarifications, you may type it through the comment box. Let me check. So let me check if you have some questions, you may type it through our chat box. I mean through our comment box. So anyway, we will start our discussion. So what will happen today is that I'm going to share ko lang kung ano yung mga nalalaman ko. I'm not saying that expertise ko to. And well, actually, I have been birth grantee since 2009. So, meron din akong mga teaching researches na na-published through online, like Teacher PH, and I have been also an research enthusiast. So recently I was awarded by the DepEd NCR or given a DepEd pin, which is a research advocate, because I am a birth grantee. So ang birth kasi siya yung nag-grant kapag ka nag-qualify ang action research mo sa DepEd. Alright, so yun lang ang short background. So ang ipipresent ko ngayon sa inyo ay kung ano ang basta sa experience ko. Okay? So, I hope that it will help you kung you are planning to make an action research. Right? So, let's start. Right, so let's start. Well, una, let's define what is an action research. now part of our objectives. Then number two, enumerate steps in doing action research. So yung mga steps. And then lastly is that I'm going to introduce a format and process of action research. So again, let me remind you that if you have questions, kung meron kayong mga clarifications, and if you are, need suggestions, like just type it in the comment sections, right, so that I can read it, okay? So let's start with what is an action research? Right, the action research is simply a form of self-reflective inquiry undertaken by the participants in social situations in order to improve the rationality and justice of their own practices and situations in which the practices are carried out. This is based from Carr and Kim's 2014. All right, so an action research is a research that any of us can do on his or in our own practice to improve it. It can be conducted with the assistance of guidance of professional researchers in order to improve strategies, practices, and knowledge. What is an action research? Correct. So when we say action research, it is useful in solving immediate and specific problems. It is useful in solving classroom problems. All right. So ito yung pagkakaiba when we say action research. Kasi some other people, like, they are thinking kapag sinabi na action research, like, mahirap yon. Okay, because nandun sa kanila yung parang stereotyping when it comes to action research, na parang this is like thesis, ganun, or mga thesis. So, parang nandun yung stigma natin. Okay? So, which is we have to break it down. Okay? Kailangan i-erase natin yung ganun na stigmas. Right? So, when we say action research, it is immediate. So, when we say immediate, yung, yung agarang pagresolba. Okay? Kung may problem man dyan. Kung may pangangailangan. So, it could be a classroom problem. So, kaya basic lang siya. And speaking of action research, meron din naman, like, meron tayong tinatawag na basic action research, which is yung basic, ito yung i-discuss ko. At meron naman talaga tayong tinatawag na action research lang talaga. Yung pinaka-complete talaga. Yun yung may tinatawag na quantitative, or qualitative research. So yun po yun. So basically, dito lang kayo magpo-fall sa action research, because whatever it is, action research man yan, basic research man yan, kapag na-accomplish mo yan, it seem like parang paras lang yun yung kanilang count. Kapag especially you're a teacher and you're aiming for a higher position kapag magpapapromote ka, paras lang ang count mo. Okay? So you have the action research. So from now on, I want to share to you that doing action research is actually very easy, like 1, 2, 3. Kapag madali lang siya. Okay? Next. Correct. So next is advantages of doing action research. What are the advantages? So syempre meron yun. Right? Why are you doing action research? Bakit ka gumagawa ng action research? Bakit ka gagawa ng action research? Syempre, hindi naman pwede na gagawa lang tayo dahil wala lang, gusto lang natin. Okay? So in every action that we do, or in every action that we are going to do, meron pa nating motivation yun kung bakit ginagawa natin yun. Now, let's have the action research. Ano ba yung mga advantages? Ano yung makukuha natin once we accomplish doing an action research? Ano yung pwedeng makuha natin doon? Well, number one, action research powers professional growth. So when we say powers professional growth, like, because of action research, like, nagkakaroon ng collaborative effort. So you grow, like, pagdating sa profession, you grow professionally in a sense that madami kang nalalaman. You learn something new, you learn some innovations, like kaya mo nang mag-manipulate ng mga projects and innovations. So through the years, of course, through doing action research. And of course, action research makes change manageable. Like manageable in a sense that hindi ka, like, yung dati mong problema, okay? Like yung dati mong problema, like, nung ginawa mo siya ng action research, like, it becomes manageable. When I say manageable, kayang-kaya mo na siyang gawin. Alright? So, and then, nasusolusyonan mo na kahit pa paano. And that's because of doing action research. Next, number 3. Action research promotes collaborations. So, collaborations in such a way na hindi pwede na kapag gumawa ka ng action research, although nakasulat din na proponent ka as a proponent. So, kahit isang proponent lang, ikaw lang ang proponent mo, you cannot do it alone. Pag sinabi natin action research, of course, you need the the participants. Okay? Participants. Now, one thing pala that I would like to remind you, kapag ka sinabi palang action research, ang tawag doon sa mga kasali mo is that participants. So, hindi natin sila pwedeng tawagin na respondents. Kasi it's like parang problem solving siya in a very immediate way. Okay? So, hindi mo sila pwedeng tawagin na respondents. It is um, participants lang sila. So, hindi mo siya pwedeng gawin mag-isa. And of course, mas maganda ang action research kapag ka meron kang hiningi ng mga ideas, there is a solicitation of ideas and informations. So that in that way, yung action research mo, nagpo-promote siya ng collaborations. Collaborations with your fellow teachers, collaborations with your superior, ganon. So, nagkakaroon siya. And also, the results would be like parang maganda kapag ka nasi-share mo siya sa lahat. Okay? So, that becomes now action research loves being shared. So, kailangan i-share mo yung action research, yung result ng action research mo. So that madami din kakaroon. Okay? Kung ano ba ang naging results ng study mo at kung ano ba ang kagandahan ng mga study ng pinag-aralan mo. Okay? So, and the fifth is, or number 5, action research can power system change. So, sistema, like, kung yung nakaugalian lang, okay, yan yung parang, yung naging kaugalian lang, naging sistema na sa loob ng system. Now, when you do an action research, pwede pala siyang mabago. Or pwede pala siyang, hindi naman totally mabago, like, pwede pala siyang ma-enhance. Right? So, ganun ang advantages ng action research. Right? Next. Action research is, points of merit for promotion. So, ito na nga ang inaantay ng bawat teacher. So, bakit ka gagawa ng action research? Actually, pwedeng ano yan. When we speak up of merits and promotions, like, madami siyang papasukan. For example, like publication, kapag pinablish mo yung action research mo, may point yun. And then you have the authorship, you have the innovations and projects. So, pwede siyang pumasok dun sa tatlo. It's like parang hitting one bird hitting 2 birds or ilang birds ba yan, 3 birds in one stone. Parang ganun. So, isa lang ang ginamit mo pero madami na siyang papasukan. Okay? It's only action research alone pero pagdating sa promotions, pwede na siyang maging tatlo. Okay? So, yun ang kagandahan when you do an action research. Well, in my case, nung una, hindi ko pa siya alam na ganito. And then, later on ko lang siya nalaman when after doing an action research, like nakapag-publish mo na ako ng siguro mga 2 action research, and then saka ko lang nalaman na ganun pala yung importance ng paggawa ng action research. So in that way, motivated na ako gumawa ng action research. Plus nalaman ko pa na ganito pala siya katindi, ganito pala siya kaganda kapag gumawa ka ng action research. And then lalo pa akong namotivate. Alright? So yun ang tatandaan natin, especially yung mga teachers. So it is very important for us to do an action research. All right, so here are the things that you are going to consider in doing action research. Well, una, you have to consider your interest. Okay? So yung interest is like parang ano ba ang gusto mo? Right? It's hard to do a certain task. Okay? It's hard parating mong to consider yung interest mo because it's hard to do a certain task kapag hindi mo yung gusto. Okay? Mind you, mahirap magtrabaho kapag hindi mo gusto ang ginagawa mo. Right? So, parang sa akin, kinonsider ko na rin siya because parang pag gusto kong ginagawa ko, like, it's not, I mean, I'm not feeling like I'm working. Kapag kunyari gusto kong ginagawa ko, hindi ko nararamdaman na work ang ginagawa ko, it's like parang usual routine lang siya. Okay? So, kaya pagdating sa action research, never akong natapos. Because I always consider my interest. So say for example, ang interest mo is all about teaching learning process, absenteeism, yung mga ganon, ano ba ang gusto mong baguhin sa classrooms mo, like yung mga behavior ng bata pagdating sa pagbabasa. So, pwedeng doon ka mag-focus mo. Right? And number two is very important, like the problem. Okay, yung problem, you need to specifically identify the problem or the need to address the problem. Meron ba? So, kasi for example, may iba't iba kasing klase ng problem. Okay, especially if you are doing an action research or classroom based. Like, iba-iba ang problem sa loob ng classroom. Right? So, therefore, it is like parang important for you to identify ano ba ang need to address na problem. Okay? Like, say for example, problem mo talagang, kasi may mga, say for example, for me, as a teacher, never kong naging, although merong mga akong mga learners na nag-absent sila, pero never kong naging problem with absenteeism. Right? So, case-to-case basis din naman yan. So, if you think like there is a big, like, parang doon ka na challenge sa absenteeism ng mga estudyante mo, like, kung isa o dalawa o tatlong estudyante mo sa klase mo ay nagpala-absent, so it's not parang minor problem lang siya, kaya mong gawin ng solution yun. Like, pero kung mga almost 50% of your population sa classroom mo ay absent or at least 30% man lang. So, maybe, pwede mo na siyang i-consider to do an action research. Parang meron silang common na problema, bakit sila nag-absent. So, first, of course, you have to identify bakit sila nag-absent. Okay? So, pag nalaman mo ng problema and just to think, right, you have to think kung anong pwede mong gawing solution. Alright, you put all of this into writings, you follow my format, and you're now doing an action research. Okay? Next, program. Okay? So, of course, in doing an action research, it's not a problem alone. Hindi lang yung problem ang pwede mong gawa ng paraan. So, you can do also action research through your program or innovations or projects. So, say for example, may project ka na. May project ka na pina-implement or programs or innovations. Like, i-highlight mo doon yung mga before and after. Okay? Ibig sabihin yung mga milestones mo, yung mga challenges mo. Then you need to put it all into writings para maging action research. Right? So respondents, ito yung sinasabi ko, pagka basic action research, we don't call them as respondents. Okay? We call them as participants lang. Next, of course, you have the material. So, kailangan consider mo rin yung materials. Say, for example, availability ng materials, reliability, kung magagamit pa ba siya o hindi na, or mag-fix ba siya doon sa need ng mga participants mo. So, yun ang kailangan mo consider. Also, the very important thing that you need to consider is the funds or the budget. So you have to like parang magba-budget ka kung it could be like estimated budget kung ilan or magkano yung magagamit. Okay? So that's the things that you need to consider in doing an action research. So you have the interest, problem, program, respondents or participants, materials, and funds. Next, research agenda or category. So ito yung mga parang pwede mong maging agenda. Pwede mong paghugutan ng mga title mo. Alright? So Number one, pwedeng maging teaching and learning process yan. Okay? Number two, pwedeng child protection. So, number three, human resource development. Actually, itong human resource development more on na siya, managerial na siya, nasa division office siya. DRRM, gender and development, inclusive education. So, yun na. Yun ang pwede mong pagugutan ng mga title. Okay? So, basically, of course, may makikita ka dyan mga opportunity for conducting an action research. Okay? Next, process and flow of an action research. Paano ba siya ginagawa? Alright, so first, you have to identify problems, program for project. So yun ang kailangan, number one. Kasi no need for you to do an action research kapag wala naman itong. Okay? Next is think of possible interventions or strategies. So kailangan nakapag-isip ka na ng mga possible na mga interventions, yung mga gagawin mo, yung mga strategies mo. Okay? Kailangan systematic na siya. Naka-conceptualize na siya. Right? Next is read related articles. So yung mga articles na related, kumbaga, the process is like parang conceptualization. Okay? Parang you are narrowing down the idea. Okay? Kasi ang pinaka huli mong gagawin kapag sa flow ng action research is yung pag-formulate the title. So, parang in a nutshell, ano talaga siya? Narrowing down. When say narrowing down, mula doon sa pinaka-broad na idea mo, okay? So, pabababain, palilitin mo siya hanggang makapag-formulate ka ng title. Okay? So, yun ang pinaka-huli mong gagawin. Now, if you have the title, you can make them an action research proposal. So, an action research proposal is the first way wherein you can go for your action research. Kasi hindi ka pwedeng i-go ng action research mo kapag hindi approve ang research proposal mo. Of course, kailangan mo i-propose mo na yan sa body or sa PAN. Once it is approved or it was approved, then that's the time that you have to go for your action research process. Okay? So, yun. Again, so you have to make a title. So, dapat pag nakagawa ka ng title, complete ka na, na-conceptualize mo na yung gusto mong pag-aralan. And then after that, for the title, you have to make an action research proposal. And after the proposal, once it is being approved or once approved, then that's the time that you have to go on for your proper action research. Pag-proceed ka na sa study mo, ikakandak mo na siya. Okay? Next. Seek approval. So ito nang gagawin mo once may proposal ka. Okay? Once you have that proposal. So, seek approval from School Action Research Committee. So, kung wala namang School Action Research Committee, usually ito talaga yun. So, you have in your school an Action Research Committee, then you are going to present to them your action research proposal. Kapag ka wala namang Action Research Committee, then no choice ka sa principal mo siya ipap-approve. In your principal or immediate superior, pap-approve siya. And after that one, syempre, through your principal, ipapasa niya yung proposal mo sa division office. And wait for the approval. Proposal. Okay, again, we're talking about proposal. Next, number 8 is, once approved, implement immediately the study. So kapag nag-approve na, may go signal na yung division na pirmahan siya. So you just have to implement the study. So gagawin mo na kung anong gusto mong gawin sa study. Okay? And gather data and come up with a complete action research. So yun na yung pinaka-last. Right? So after that, again, may title ka na, you have the title, make an action research proposal, present it to the school research committee. Kung wala naman, you just let your principal examine your proposal, and then your principal will endorse your proposal to your division office and wait for the approval. Once approved, that's the time that you can go on with your action research. And after that, you gather all the data and then be able to come up with a complete action research. Okay? So please do not be confused. Kailangan mo na ng action research proposal. Once approved, saka ka mag-go ng action research mo. Next. So next is the action research proposal format. So once mayroon ka ng action research, you are planning now to do a proposal. Okay? So, of course, yung unang mong gagawin is title. So, discuss natin dito kung paano gumawa, paano ang format natin. Now, you have the action research proposal format. So, you will do now is that you have to title, you have to make it simple. Okay? Pagdating sa title, make it simple and it must have the maximum number of words, which is 15. Okay? So when you say 15, 15 words lang dapat ang title. Okay? And all acronyms, okay, all acronyms must be spelled out. All acronyms must be spelled out. So ibig sabihin, walang acronyms na makikita doon sa title. And it must contain the variables of the study. So syempre, sa title alone pa lang, makikita na kung ano ang variable na pinag-aaralan mo. Okay? Next. So, tips. Read related articles first and conceptualize the project before thinking or making a title. So yun naman talaga ang dapat. So you have to read and read, palawakin mo muna yung ideas mo, and then until such time, makakabuo ka na ng title para sa action research mo. Okay? Think of broader topic, narrow it down by thinking subtopics. So, malawak muna, broad, and then narrow it down. When you say narrow it down, parang doon mo may apply yung parang chunking of the words. So, yun. Next, context and rationale. So, pagdating naman sa context and rationale, again, number 1 is your title, number 2 is context and rationale. So, when it comes to context and rationale, you have to state or give reliable data that will support your problem. So, stated facts and data must be verified and validated. So, sino bang magbabalidate nito? Of course, sa context and rationale mo, doon mo sasabihin yung reason kung bakit nagkakandak ka ng action research. So, of course, hindi naman siya yung reason mo naman, it needs to be backed up with facts. Okay? It needs to be backed up with verified and validated data. Hindi mo lang pwedeng sabihin din na, say for example, absenteeism. Magkakandak ka, would like to conduct a research about absenteeism. Okay? So what? Kung magkakanda ka ng absenteeism, anong gagawin mo? So of course, it must be backed up with data or facts. Magkakanda ka because napansin mo na these students of yours, learners of yours, like affected yung pag-aaral niya. So, kinukonsider mo na yung absenteeism or being absent always in the class is one of the factor, parang ganon. Now, when you speak up of when you speak up of absenteeism, like kunyari affected yung kanilang pag-aaral, then you must have that data na nagpo-prove na affected talaga yung pag-aaral niya. Anong pwede mong gamitin doon? You can have like yung grades nila, okay? You can have like yung result ng quarterly test nila, pwedeng gano'n. So, hindi lang pwedeng sasabihin mo na gano'n. You have to come up with a facts and data, and it must be verified and validated. So, sa case kasi, may ibang division kasi na yung quarterly test nila, yung division na check. So, validated na yun, verified na. So, pwede mong gamitin na data. Okay, next. Now, let's have the tips. Now, in writing context and rationale, you must prove that there is a problem and a need to conduct a study. So, kailangan mo mapapatunayan yun. Kagaya ng sinasabi ko kanina, you have to back up your problem with the data which is verified and validated. Next, cite or state at least 3 validated sources data. So, kailangan may pinanggagalingan kung saan galing ang data mo. So, it could be like, parang, sanat ba siya galing? Sa field area or sa mean? Or, kagaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, if your Quarterly test is parang sa division nyo na chine-check, yung division nyo nag-check sa inyo. So, pwede mo gamitin yun as validated data kasi division na yun. Okay? So, yun. Next. After the um, after that, we're going to have now the proposed intervention and strategy. Of course, when you are proposing for an action research, it is very important like meron kang pinaghandaan. Kasi binasa mo na siya, na-identify mo ng problem mo, so ipro-propose mo na ngayon. This is the time that you're going to propose your intervention and strategy. Okay? State your proposed interventions, back up with different related literatures that you have read. Siyempre, in terms, I mean, when we say related literature, like magbabasa ka ng mga different study na which you think na makakatulong yun para ma-solve ang problem mo. Then you're not going to propose an intervention which not, hindi siya makakatulong. So, always have this literature na makakatulong sa pag-aaral mo or else baka hindi pa ma-approve ang proposal mo kapag ka hindi maganda ang pagkakapresent mo dito. Usually kasi ang panel, yung dumidirect sila, after the title, dumidirect sila doon sa ano ba yung purpose mo, ano ba yung proposed intervention with strategy. So you need to write this one as clear as concise, very concise. Okay, you can cite prior programs that the interventions were utilized. So pwedeng mag-cite ka ng mga naging successful na mga researches about the interventions that you're going to use. So pwedeng ganun para maganda may highlight siya ng marks. Okay, so tips. In writing proposed intervention strategies, an original strategy or intervention is better in case an intervention was adopted from other studies. Make sure to justify how you apply and use it to your study. So, napaka-importante yun. So, if you have like yung original strategy mo, yung ginagawa mo, kung may ginagawa ka, and you find it very effective, so, pwede mong much better yon. But provided na dapat merong mga binasa ka doon na related literature. Okay? If nagkataon na you are going to adopt, when say adopt, parang itong intervention mo, ginamit na siya ng ibang studies, so you have to identify or justify ano ang pagkakaiba nito, paano mo siya gagamitin sa action research mo. Anong pagkakaiba nito doon sa ginamit na dati. So you have to identify that one. Okay, next, action research question. So this is very important. Okay, action research questions. State at least 5 questions that you wanted to find out after your study. So 5 questions lang po siya. Now, tips. Formulate a research question such as descriptive questions. When say descriptive, ito yung mga basic questions like masasagot siya in terms of your in terms of the data that you presented. Now, inferential questions like is there a significance, mga ganon, mga tanong. Now, effects of the interventions. Now, dito, yung impact na ng intervention na gagamitin mo, ano yung naging result ng study mo. So, yun. So, dapat yun yung 3 kinds of questions na mag-a-appear doon sa questions mo. Right, action research methods. So, sa methods naman, we're going to identify the number of the participants. So, number, number, when it comes to number, wala siyang specific number because when doing an action research, again, we are talking about action research and not the basic action research. I mean, we are talking this one, the basic action research and not the action research itself. Okay? Magkaiba po kasi yun. Action research and then basic action research. We are talking about the basic action research. So, pwedeng isa, case study, pwedeng ganon, 2, 3, 4, 5, or isang buong class, pwede mo maging participants. Okay, sources of data information. Okay, so saan manggagaling yung mga data na gagamitin mo? Gagamitin mo ba ay field area reading materials? Gagamitin mo ba yung result ng NAT mo? Basta validated siya. Next, data gathering methods and data analysis. Ano ba yung gagamitin mo? It could be like sampling, ano bang klaseng sampling, descriptive sampling ba? Anong gamit yung methods, t-test ba, pair t-test? Basta yung mga method na gagamitin. Ano ba yung data analysis mo na gagamitin? So, random sampling ba? Parang ganon. So, doon na siya mag-fall dito sa action research methods. Next. So, I have some tips for you. So, ito naman, kay take note, kasi yung mga tips na binibigay ko, it's based on my opinion. Right? Yun yung mga ginawa ko. Well, in order for me, para hindi mahirapan sa paggawa ng action research. So, pagdating naman sa data gathering, so in selecting participants of your study, make sure to state how the participants were selected. So, different sampling pwedeng ganon. Number two, sources data intervention must be verified or quality assured by the principal or master teacher or the research committee. Alright, so itong sinasabi dito, kunyari, ang problem mo ay reading, and then may papabasa ka sa kanila part of your action research, like magpapabasa ka. Ngayon, kung ang reading materials ay sarili mong gawa, hindi siya validated, like hindi siya nakapublish. Kasi kung nakapublish siya, well, definitely, isasama mo kung saan mo siya nakuha. Okay, pero ang gusto mo kasi gumawa ka ng original na reading intervention para, akma talaga doon sa need ng mga bata. Okay, pwede naman yun. Just make sure, like, it should be, like, it should be quality assured by the principal or master teacher or the research committee or yung mas superior pa sa'yo. Kailangan na quality assured siya. Why? Because yun po ang process ng action research. Next, tip. Number 3 tip, difficult issues and standard must be properly discussed with the participants of the study. Not, like, before you conduct the research study, kailangan ma-discuss mo ng maayos kung yung mga ethical issues, like mag-discuss, like magbigay ka ng waiver doon sa parent, like pinapayagan nila mga estudyante na mag-undergo ng research para at the end, wala kang magiging problema. Okay? Mag, mag, mag-undergo ka ng orientation sa parents and both the parents and the participants. So, i-discuss mo din kung this is free, wala kang i-charge na iba, hindi mo sila babayaran, like, gagawin mo to for their, may mga problema sila. So, kailangan mo i-discuss yun. And on the side of the parents naman, kailangan mo lang ma-discuss na kailangan nila i-waive na pinapayagan nila mga estudyante nila na ganitong oras, ganitong araw. Okay? Kailangan maging clear sa kanila yun para wala kang nilalabag ng mga rights ng bawat isa. So parang free from any issue yung action research. And again, because it's the process. You have to follow the process of doing action research. Kailangan may mga ethical standard issues. Okay, next. In analyzing data, state specifically the different statistical tools used. Example, correlational statistics, descriptive statistics, or t-test, and others. So, madami pa siyang iba. So, well, definitely, kagaya ng mga researches, so kailangan mo verify. Okay? So, kailangan kasi yun. So, kung ano bang ginamit mo, like you have the correlation statistics, descriptive statistics, and t-test, or madami pa dyan iba. Okay? Now, for the action research work plan and timeline, so you have to isusulat mo lang din ano yung mga activities mo. When the pre-implementations, when you say pre-implementations, like bago mo siya i-implement. So, usually ang nangyari dito, ito yung planning, ito yung planning implementation, ito yung orientations. So, dyan nangyayari. Now, implementation is the study proper. Yung implementations na nagpapabasa ka, right? You conduct remedial reading, you do survey questionnaires, parang ganun. Nag-home visit ka, ganun. Post-implementation, this is where you gather all the results. And this is usually where you tabulates or you do the final tabulations. Like, kunyari, nagkakaroon ka ng final output. Doon siya kinukuha. Anong result ng study mo, yung level of difficulties, yung mga ganun. So, dito na siya nangyayari sa post-implementations. Okay? Next is your cost estimate funds and resources. Now, you will state here all the expenses included in your studies note. If you like it to be funded, kung gusto mong ma-fund yun ng birth, expenses on purchase of materials such as printer, camera, cell phones are not allowed. So, hindi yun. Kung hindi. So, ano lang pwede? So, actually, you have the food, you have all the materials, except lang yung mga nabanggit. Yun lang yung pwede mong pagkagastusan para ma-refund sa iyo ang pera. Next, plans of for dissemination and utilization. Disseminations like how and when will you disseminate the result of your study? So pag natapos ka ba, paano mo siya ibabahagi? Paano mo siya gagamitin? Okay? When you disseminate. So saan mo siya gagamitin? Like say for example, sa mga teacher conferences, LAC sessions, meeting, division, induction program, gano'n. Utilization naman, saan mo siya mai-utilize? Remedial ba siya? Group discussions ba siya? Peer tutoring ba siya? Gano'n. So, yun. So, pwede mo lang siya i-publish. Okay? And lastly, you have the references. So, you have to list down all your references and it must be in the EPA format. Okay? So, yun lang ang dapat mong tandaan pagdating sa proposal. And mind you, proposal pa lang po ang nadi-discuss natin. So, let's go on to the action research template. So, ito na yung template ng action research. So, natapos ka na sa action research proposal, na-approve na yung proposal mo with the division office, and then you're going now to do the actual action research. So, natapos mo na, isusulat mo na lang siya. Next. So, what would be in the action research template? So, you have the cover page, which contains the following. The title of the study, maximum of 15 words, name of the proponents and their designations, schools division office, and schools division office, and date of submission. Now, number 2 is your acknowledgement. So, acknowledgement, it contains all the individuals, all individuals that the researchers would or wanted to thank to. Okay? Note, use always the third person in writing your acknowledgement. Now, for the abstract. So the abstract is the entire text should be include the following. Major aspects, objectives, methods, results, and reflections, conclusions, and recommendations. Okay? So, dapat nandun kasali ito lahat sa abstract. Right? Kumbaga sa abstract kasi, ang mangyayari dyan is parang lahat ng action research mo, kinumpress mo siya sa abstract. Okay? Pinag-isa mo siya. That's why your abstract should be written in specific and concise manner. Okay? Bakit? Kasi you have to, You have to follow the 300 words. 300 words lang siya. Dapat ang kasya sa abstract. Okay? Hindi na siya lalagpas doon. And after that, kapag may 300 words ka na, nabuo mo na yung abstract mo, enough for 300 words, you have to provide 5 to 10 keywords doon sa abstract mo. So keywords, of course, it must be written at the bottom part of your abstract. The abstract should be italic and single space. So yun pang format ng abstract natin. Next, introduction. So maliban lang sa abstract, may introduction ka pa, which is the next one. So introduction usually yung sa format mo ng proposal, sa format ng proposal mo, ika-copy-paste mo lang ng konti yun, tapos may babaguhin ka doon sa introduction. This is the context and rationale. This part discusses your topic or problem. Always back up your statement with facts or study. Use proper citation in citing studies. Of course, kapag ka may sinite ka na, kunyari definition ni Morgan, ganun, dapat nakasite siya doon ng maayos para, we could avoid plagiarism terms like that na mga issues. Or copyright. Alright, so it should be an APA format. Right, so tip lang din, this is from my own point of view, like you may start discussing your topic from general point of views up to the very specific discussions. You know the inverted pyramid, okay, inverted triangle. So inverted siya in such a way na malaki yung nasa taas at maliit yung nasa baba. Now, inverted, ang meaning nun is that from the most broad topic or idea, you have to narrow it down to specific discussions. Now, how will it apply to your introductions? You cite first the idea globally. Okay, pangkalahatan mo, say for example, you are your action research is um all about reading, all right, or non-reader, all about reading. So you have to cite a global reading problems, okay? Reading problems, and then after that, ano ang problema ng reading sa Pilipinas, okay? And then, ano ang problema ng reading sa school mo? And that's the become more specific. So from kabuuan, then you go down with medyo kabuuan, the national level, and then sa school mo na siya. And that's specific na. So kapag ka tinumbok mo na yung problema mo sa school, of course, you're going to state now your own problem. Okay? Or kung hindi ka pa muna sa school mo, you could have like provide your division sa division mo. And then until such time na pumunta ka na doon kasi ang susunod sa division mo is yung school mo na, yung problem mo na. You have to identify that. See? Inverted pyramid po siya. Yun lang ang hint. Yun lang ang one of the technique that I can give you. Kasi yun po bumibilis ang paggawa ng action research po because of that technique. Alright? So, next. So, hindi mahirap gumawa ng research. Next is the proposed interventions and innovation strategy. In this part, you will be representing the process on how you will be starting or gathering your data, what are the necessary methods you applied and intervention you used. So since tapos ng action research mo, so sa proposed interventions and innovation, now we're going to discuss this one, like paano ang naging effect nito sa study mo. Okay? Anong mga ginawa mong processes? So say for example, if nagpa-remedial ka, tuwing kailan mo siya ginagawa, ano ang process mo, nag-start ka ba muna sa letter reading, sa word reading, sa phrases reading, sa sentence reading, mga ganon. So dito mo siya i-discuss ang buong intervention mo. Okay? It's not, kasi kanina ginawa mo sa format, ang ginawa mo kanina sa proposal, plain yung propose mo pa lang siya. Sinasabi mo din na ito ang gagawin ko sa intervention, magpapabasa ako, sisimulan ko sa word, sa letter, sa word, sa phrases, sa sentence, hanggang sa paragraph. And now, kasi tapos na yung action research mo, ginawa mo na siya, sasabihin mo na kung ano ang nangyari doon sa pagpapabasa mo ng letter, pagpapabasa mo ng word, pagpapabasa mo ng phrases, pagpapabasa mo ng sentences. Okay? So, ganun lang kadali yun. Alright? I hope you're getting my point. Next is, of course, this is the action research questions. So, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, pwede ng 5. Okay, you could have like 5 questions. Okay, so consider your problem in formulating questions. Right, so that is chapter 1. Chapter 2, ano ba yung nasa chapter 2? So chapter 2 usually contains the participants and data source, data gathering procedures and instruments, data analysis. So nandun lang lahat yun. So always choose or make a research study that utilize descriptive statistics. The simpler, the better. Why? So ako kasi, I am not good in, I'm not good in mathematics. So, pero gusto kong gumawa ng action research. Kasi may mga iba kasi, hindi tayo para-parehas. So, may mga iba kasi na hindi nila gusto ang math, kaya ang reason nila, hindi sila gagawa ng action research. Because, no, action research is all about mathematics din. So, merong mga statistics na, may mga numbers na to deal with. No? So, since hindi ako magaling sa math, so what I usually did kapag iba-browse mo lahat ng action research na ginawa, it is more on descriptive. Kasi ang descriptive yung pinakamadali. Kaya mong i-defend yun. Okay? Kaya mong i-solve yun. Kasi titignan mo na lang naman din sa mga descriptions niya. Okay? So, yan yung advice ko. Para hindi ka mahirapan sa paggagawa ng action research, you better choose simple action research, like simple procedure. Like, example, descriptive. Okay? Hindi naman kasi kailangan complicated ang action research. Magawa mo lang siya ng maayos, and then you have the result, like, reliable results. That's okay. Sabi pa nga din sa DepEd, sa NCR sa amin, action research, the simpler, the better. So, the more na simple siya, the more na mas maganda siya. Okay? Huwag na natin pahirapan ang mga sarili na. Alright, so chapter 3, it is the results and, the results and discussions. Okay? Now, for the results and discussions, of course, you have to provide graphical presentations and explain the results of your study comprehensively. Avoid slang or very uncommon words to avoid misinterpretations and confusions. All right? So, hint, when comparing results, be specific and use statistical data and interpretation. So, hindi ka pwedeng lumabas doon. Kapag ka nasa results and discussions ka na, be specific. Wala nang paligoy-ligoy pa, walang mga incidental languages, wala yun. So just present the table, discuss within the table, discuss the result. Okay, hindi ka na pwedeng lumagpas pa doon. Kasi ang results, it should be, again, concise and specific sa result. Huwag ka nang lumabas doon. Okay? Para hindi ka na rin mahirapan. Alright, next. Alright, so malapit na tayo. Conclusions and recommendations. Alright, always generalize the term and always refer to the or of the study. So, ganun din. So, when you conclude, when you recommend, so always generalize the term. Present the summary and findings of your research study. So, you have to present the findings of your research study. Actually, sa conclusions and recommendations, like more on um, more on doon ka magbe-base sa problem mo. Aside from the result na ginamit sa result, gagamitin mo kasi sa result kasi when stating the results, doon mo sasagutan yung mga questions mo, di ba, sa results. And then this one, for the conclusions and recommendations, doon ka din mag-draw ng conclusion based doon sa sagot mo sa results. So, i-generalize mo lang siya, okay? And be specific. Now, show implications, reflections in making recommendations. So, of course, kailangan mo mag-cite kung anong mga naging results mo. See yung results at yung implications at reflect. Kailangan mo mag-reflect as a researcher para makagawa ka ng recommendations. Okay? Next is the important thing, which is the action plan. Now, come up with an action plan based on the results of your research study. Siyempre, di ka nalalabas dun sa study mo. So, when you have that action plan, so kailangan based siya doon sa action research mo. Make it attainable and easy to do. Why? Because ikaw din ang mahirapan nun. Just in case na pina-complicate mo yung action research mo. Ikaw din ang mahirapan. Right? So, just make it attainable and easy to do. Of course, you have to observe the time frame. And here we go for the last slide, I think. Cite properly all the authors and books or studies that you have read. Use the APA or APA format. Okay? Again, so if you have like questions, okay, if you need some clarifications, you may visit my Facebook page. It's called an Action Research Enthusiast. So, with this logo, so makikita nyo, search lang doon. Then, nandun may mga naka-upload ako ng mga tip for you to start doing action research. Okay? If you need my help also, you can message the group and then sumasagot naman agad ako doon. So, if you need help, just visit and send me a message. Okay? So, I'm checking with the chat box, I think. So if you have questions, again, you just send it through the comment box here and I will be willing to assist you. Okay? Kung anong mga katanungan at kung kaya ano pa ang mga gusto niyong tulong. Alright, so with that, let's end the discussion. So tama lang yung time natin, hindi tayo lumagpas at hindi rin tayo nag-overtime. Right? So I hope you learned something from doing action research and I love to see more of your action research someday. Thank you. This is Teacher Neil. Alright, ang teacher na vlogger. Just please don't forget to click and subscribe to my channel so that you will be updated of my video. By the way, nag-upload din ako dito ng mga videos like for lessons, ng mga English lessons like grade 4. So pwede rin gamitin nyo for remedial sa mga presentations niyo sa mga GCs niyo, sa group chats niyo, or sa mga students niyo. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.